Welcome to my channel, where the scariest stories come to life. Before we dive into today's chilling tale, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications, so you never miss a story. Now, let's get into the horror. I was in my third year of college when I decided to visit a couple of old friends at a nearby university. My school was small and quiet, but their campus had more going on, so I'd drive out there every now and then for the weekend. That Friday afternoon, I packed a bag, finished my classes, and headed out to meet Jake and Sam. We caught up, relaxed a bit, and made plans to hit some bars later that night with a few of their friends. By the time we left, it was around 10. The group wanted to walk since the place we were heading to was just a few minutes away. At first, it was me, Jake, and Sam, but Sam peeled off quickly to grab something from a dorm nearby. He said he'd catch up with us later. Jake and I kept walking through campus. I'd been there once or twice before, but it was a huge place, and I didn't know it very well. It was late, quiet, and most of the buildings were dark. As we passed a large building, I suddenly felt the urge to use the bathroom. I asked Jake if I could stop quickly. He told me to go ahead, and he stayed outside to take a call. I tried the door, and it opened. I stepped inside, not sure what the building was used for. The halls were empty, and no signs pointed to a restroom, so I started wandering, figuring I'd find one soon. After a few minutes, I finally located a bathroom, used it, and was ready to head back. But now I was turned around and had no idea how to get out. As I tried retracing my steps, I heard footsteps echoing through the hall. They were fast and getting louder. At first, I assumed it might be a janitor or maybe security, so I stepped around a corner to wait and let them pass. But instead of passing me, the steps turned toward where I was. I panicked and bolted up a nearby staircase, trying to avoid whoever it was. On the second floor, everything looked the same. I could still hear footsteps trailing behind me, now coming up the stairs quickly. I wasn't sure if I'd done something wrong, but my instincts told me to keep moving. I walked quickly through the dim hallways, listening carefully. The footsteps followed my exact path, always a little behind but closing in. I ducked into a locked room, no luck. I kept going, trying to get back to the entrance or find another way out. When I saw an elevator, I rushed to it and hit the button repeatedly. It opened right away, thankfully. As soon as I stepped in, I kept pressing for the ground floor. I could hear the footsteps turning the corner and rushing toward me. The person was now running. The doors began to close, and just as they were about to shut, I saw someone rush into view. I couldn't make out their face, just the shape of their body. They lunged for the doors, but it was too late. The elevator began to descend. I exhaled, trying to calm down, but then I heard them sprinting away, likely heading for the stairs. When the doors opened, I spotted the exit just ahead. It looked like the same door I had entered through. I walked toward it, but before I reached it, I heard footsteps again. This time, they were coming from the side. I looked left and saw a figure charging toward me. I ran. I sprinted for the door, and just as I reached it, something flew past my head and shattered against the wall. I didn't stop to see what it was. I pushed through the door and rushed outside. Jake was still standing nearby, phone in hand. He looked up and saw me running, but when the person burst out behind me, his face changed from confusion to fear. We both took off down the path, fast as we could. Once we turned onto another street, we slowed down and looked back. No one was there. Whoever it was had given up the chase. Jake asked what happened, and all I could say was that someone had followed me inside and tried to attack me. He said the man looked totally unhinged. I never got a clear look at him, and I never saw him again. The fact that he threw something at me still rattles me. Whatever his reason was, I don't think he belonged in that building either. We met up with our other friends and tried to enjoy the rest of the night, but I couldn't shake what happened. Since then, I'd visited that campus a few more times, but I always stay far away from that part of the school. I don't think I'll ever forget that night. Something unexpected happened to me yesterday morning. I live in Canada, in a region where the number of addicts, especially crack and cocaine users, is extremely high. I live alone in a small semi-basement apartment, which means my windows are at ground level from the outside. That morning, I was lying in bed in my underwear watching some TV when I started to hear a light scratching at my front door. At first, I ignored it, thinking it was probably just the wind or maybe an animal, but the sound kept getting louder. Eventually, it turned into a harsh cracking noise. It didn't take long for me to realize that someone was trying to force my door open. I grabbed my rifle. I live in the north, where there are wild animals like bears, so I always keep it loaded and nearby. I also opened the 911 app on my phone and got ready to call, depending on what happened next. Then I returned to my bedroom and waited quietly, listening. Soon, the noise at the front door stopped. A few moments later, I heard slow footsteps near my bedroom window. I froze. My bed is right under that window. Then I heard someone talking to themselves, mumbling loudly. I got up, rifle in hand, and stood in front of the window. Through the curtain, I could see a man's silhouette. He was trying to peek through the small opening in the sliding window. I could see his hand reaching in, pushing the window open even wider. I took a deep breath and tried to calm my heartbeat. I needed to stay focused and alert. The man then reached for the curtain, gently lifting it to slide underneath and get inside. The moment his head entered my room, he found himself face to face with me. I was standing there silently, rifle pointed straight at him. He didn't say anything at first. Then, after a pause, I calmly asked, "Do you need help with something?" The man looked completely dazed. He had trouble speaking, saliva dripping from his mouth as he looked around. Finally, he stammered, "Hello, sir. I didn't think this apartment was occupied. So sorry. I'll be leaving and I'll close your window." And that's exactly what he did. Looking back, I'm pretty sure the man was high and confused. He might have been looking for a place to crash. I don't know. But I never called the police. I just didn't want to make things worse for someone who was already struggling. I also didn't want to get caught up in legal procedures while juggling school and work. Still, it was a terrifying experience. One that I won't be forgetting anytime soon. I was probably in 5th grade when it happened. There were 3 of us, all girls, hanging out in front of the small convenience store in my hometown. One of my friends was on the pay phone, calling her mom. Probably to ask if we could spend the night at her place. It was a quiet town with fewer than 3,000 people. Not much happened there, especially for kids. We were just bored, playing around, talking, and wasting time outside the store. That's when a man approached us. He was tall and thin, with blonde hair and a face that looked worn from age. He started talking in a soft voice, telling us about his son. He said his son didn't have any friends and was always alone, playing in their garage. The way he spoke made it sound like the saddest thing in the world. He asked if we would come play with his son. Just down the road, he said. It would mean so much to him. His son would be so happy. He repeated this, slowly and dramatically, like he was trying to guilt us into going. The 3 of us looked at each other. We didn't say a word, just exchanged glances. Then we started subtly shaking our heads and hands to signal to each other. No. We were not going with this man. That didn't stop him. He kept trying, offering candy, even money. He kept saying how close his house was and how lonely his son felt. His voice was calm, but there was something about him that made our skin crawl. My friend tried to turn him down politely while the other 2 of us just stood there in silence, staring at him with wide eyes and pounding hearts. When he started to get more persistent, we didn't hesitate. We bolted inside the convenience store. We ran straight to the counter and told the lady working there what had just happened. Her face turned serious. She told us to stay inside and said she'd make a call. Then she handed us some free candy, probably just to keep us calm while we waited. Soon after, my friend's mom showed up. I can't remember if she'd already been on her way or if the store clerk had called her, but she got there quickly. A police officer was outside when we left, talking to someone, but nothing else ever came of it. At least, not that I know of. Even now, I still think about how lucky we were. How easily things could have gone a different way. We were just kids, but we trusted our instincts. And that might have saved our lives. Thanks for sticking around till the end. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to give the video a like and leave a comment with your thoughts. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a terrifying tale. See you in the next one.